Clemson already has the gold, but the winner of this game very well could take silver. This Saturday, number 21 Wake Forest takes on number 22 NC State, with the winner possibly finishing second in the ACC Atlantic. Clemson basically has the division wrapped up. Yes, Syracuse is still in the mix, but the winner of this game has a very good chance to finish second in the division and has a chance to keep their New Year's Six bowl hopes alive, as both the Demon Deacons and the Wolfpack are still both 6-2. So this is not the exciting game that we thought we were going to have back in the preseason. This is not a game that's going to determine who wins the division, very much like it was last year when Wake Forest was able to beat the Wolfpack. But it's still a very important game, guys, when it comes to conference standings and potential bowl destinations for both teams. So welcome back to the Gridiron Expert, guys, as we are ready to break down Wake Forest and NC State. Still a top 25 matchup on Saturday night. As always, please continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country, guys, beating out over 80% of the national analysts and handicappers each of the last 4 years, hitting over 63% against the spread this year, hitting over 82% on the money line this year. You're not going to find picks or prices better anywhere else than right here at the Gridiron Expert. Go sign up, take advantage of them, and become a part of our GE Nation. So let's jump into this game, guys. Demon Deacons and the Wolfpack. Who do you got on Saturday? Well, if history is any indication, Wake Forest will win this game. The Demon Deacons have won 4 of the last 5 meetings against NC State, including that 45-42 win last year that ultimately was able to send Wake Forest to the ACC championship game. But it should be mentioned that 4 of the last 5 games, not all of those 4 Wake Forest wins, but 4 of the last 5 games have been decided by 6 points or less. NC State actually won over Wake Forest by the exact same score in 2020, 45-42. The very next year, Wake Forest won 45-42. That game having a little more stakes. Take a look at the offense, guys. We'll start with Wake Forest here. What's going to be their key heading into Saturday? Well, if you watched them last week, you know it is to take care of the ball. Take care and hold on to the football. Hold on for it like it's your life, like it's your child. Wake Forest had an insane 8 turnovers. Yes, 8 turnovers last week against Louisville in a 48-21 loss. Not only that, they had 8 sacks as well. They allowed 8 sacks. Sam Hartman was constantly under pressure. 4 picks, 4 fumbles, not all from Hartman, but 4 picks, 4 fumbles, constantly under duress. Wake Forest had no answer for that Louisville defense, and that could be a problem going up against what's arguably a stronger NC State defense this Saturday. But here's the thing. Wake Forest is not going to commit 8 turnovers again. That is a thing that maybe happens once every 50 years, once in a lifetime. That's a lot of turnovers from one team in one game, and that's not going to happen this Saturday against NC State. You look a little bit closer and you realize that Wake Forest's offense typically is very efficient and very good. 38.9 points per game, nearly 300 passing yards per game. Of course, led by Sam Hartman, who has thrown for over 2,000 yards and 22 touchdowns. Has one of the best wide receivers in the conference, and A.T. Perry has over 550 yards and 5 touchdowns. Again, when Wake Forest has time, when Sam Hartman has time, when they're not constantly getting bogged down. Keep in mind, Wake Forest was beating Louisville 14-13 before allowing 35 third-quarter points. When they have time and things are a little more slow, tempo-wise, Wake Forest can exploit you big time. They have a very electric offense. They're very, very strong. And the run game has seen a surge this year, something that's kind of been non-existent the last few years, 136.6 rushing yards per game so far, led by Justice Ellison. So obviously a Wake Forest offense that still wants to rely heavily on the pass, but the run game becoming more of a factor. You take a look at NC State. Their offense is definitely inferior to Wake Forest. Coming into the season, guys, we thought the offense was going to be really dang good. A lot of experience coming back, Devin Leary coming back, and the offense was struggling, even with Leary under center. Then he got hurt. Against Florida State, and they've struggled since then. They had only 255 yards in a 24-9 loss to Syracuse. They did have 356 total yards against Virginia Tech last week, but only had 60 yards on the ground, and that was a game where NC State trailed 21-3 before finally coming back to win 22-21, but they did not score their first touchdown until there was 1:42 left in the third quarter. So the offense struggled mightily against Virginia Tech before the Hokies ultimately just choked and blew it. But what happened in that game was that NC State got a bit of a spark from freshman quarterback M.J. Morris. They were kind of relying on Jack Chambers for a while. M.J. Morris comes in, goes for 265 yards and 3 touchdowns in that comeback over Virginia Tech. This could be the spark that NC State needed to save their season. Yeah, he's a freshman quarterback, but he gave them that spark in the passing game, was very, very efficient, took very good care of the ball, and that could have solved their offensive issues going down the road. It'll be interesting to see how he plays now, assuming he does get the nod in this game against Wake Forest. Problem is, guys, NC State is only averaging 125.1 rushing yards per game, so the run game not too big of a factor. Not so much for Wake Forest either. Both teams are going to have to rely more heavily on their passing game, and that is where Wake Forest certainly owns the edge. When we take a look at the defense, guys, it's a kind of flip-flop. Wake Forest clearly owns the offensive edge. NC State, to me, owns the defensive edge. Wake Forest offensive, NC State defensive. Wake Forest, guys, I do think that MJ Morris could exploit that secondary. The Demon Deacons are giving up 27 points per game. They're giving up over 230 passing yards per game. They've only forced 5 interceptions. So secondary is mediocre. Over 230 yards, not creating many takeaways. That could be an issue. You would think facing a freshman quarterback, the Demon Deacons be licking their chops. They're like, yes, we are going to do what Louisville did to us last week. That's what we're going to do to MJ Morris and NC State. I don't think Wake Forest is going to be able to do that. 5 interceptions, 8 forced fumbles, 18 sacks on the year. You look at the numbers a little deeper, guys. The Wake Forest defense isn't great, but it is a unit that I think has improved over these last few weeks. And someone's going to be quick to say, they allowed 48 to Louisville. That's not good to me. Keep in mind that Louisville did have 14 points off of defensive touchdowns, and a lot of those turnovers put Louisville in good field position, let them get some easy scores. I don't really put down the defense that much. Prior to the Louisville game, though, Wake Forest only allowed 15 points to Boston College, only 10 points to Army, only 21 points to Florida State, a road game at Florida State. The defense was playing relatively strong up until that Louisville game, so now it's just a matter of which defense shows up. Does Wake Forest get back to their roots? Do they get back to that strong defensive performances we saw for nearly a month, or do they kind of fall off against NC State? The Wolfpack, guys, the defense has clearly been their strength, and we kind of expected that coming into the season. We expected the Wolfpack to have a very strong defensive unit. Only 17.4 points per game they're allowing. They are giving up just only 308.6 total yards per game. It's pretty dang good. We always say if you can stay around that 300 mark, you have a pretty solid defense. 300 or under, you have a good defense, and NC State just a few yards over that. They're giving up just 195 passing yards per game, just 113 rushing yards per game. But obviously, you have to wonder, is that passing defense going to be able to shut down Sam Hartman? This will be one of the most electric passing attacks that NC State's defense has faced this year. Yes, we know they faced Texas Tech earlier in the year, did a pretty good job of shutting them down, winning that game by 13. We know they have faced Florida State, held them to 17. We know they have faced Clemson. They lost that game 30-20. DJ had a pretty good game, but for the most part, the secondary's been decent. Can they do it now against the likes of Sam Hartman and A.T. Perry and guys like that? I will say the Wolfpack are good at creating takeaways. They have 11 interceptions on the year. 11 interceptions on the year. And defensively, the most points they've allowed all year was just 30 points to Clemson. So every other opponent has been held to under 30 points. It's pretty good. This is a stout defense, guys. The problem is, will they get tired? If the NC State offense is ineffective, like we've seen time and time again this year, and the defense is consistently put out there against this good of a Wake Forest offense, will the defense eventually get run down? Wake Forest jumps out to a double-digit lead, gets up to a double-digit lead, and that could be one that NC State is unable to overcome what they were able to do last week against Virginia Tech. That's the question. Does that happen? We believe it does. We believe it does. I'll sit here, guys. I really am shocked this is a top 25 game. I mean, both teams have some quality wins on their resume. This is a low-end top 25 game, 21 and 22. But you could make an argument that neither team should be ranked. You can make an argument that they should be lower than where they are. But at the end, guys, I got to go with Wake Forest here. I love Wake Forest in this spot. I do not have faith in NC State's offense heading into this game. Yes, I know they have a very strong defense. Yes, I know they have home field advantage. Yes, I know Morris looked good last week against Virginia Tech. But Wake Forest is 10 times better than Virginia Tech. They're a much stronger team, and I think they're going to bounce back. Wake Forest probably could have won that game against Louisville had they gotten out of their own way, had they just taken care of the football. I think Dave Clawson corrects those issues. Wake Forest isn't going to commit 8 turnovers to this NC State defense. I don't think it's a huge margin of victory. I don't think it's a blowout by any means, but I believe that Wake Forest does bounce back with a huge road win over a ranked team. It continues to improve that resume for the Demon Deacons, and they will keep their New Year's Six Bowl hopes alive with a very tough stretch down the road with games against North Carolina, Syracuse, and Duke, all coming up in these next few weeks. An opportunity for the Demon Deacons to slip and maybe lose that silver medal, lose that second place spot, or continue to pad their resume in hopes of reaching a New Year's Six Bowl game. But nonetheless, guys, the Demon Deacons will win over the Wolfpack on Saturday in what could be the second place game in the ACC Atlantic. So guys, as always, thank you so much for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and of course, check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Again, some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the entire country for one of the lowest prices in the entire country. Beating out over 80% of the national analysts, you're not going to find picks or prices like it anywhere else. Go check it out. Sign up for those today and become a part of our GE Nation. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Gridiron Expert.